Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom. I have a moon reading today, the full moon reading of 23rd of May. And to dive into that, I will share the screen. But let me tell you quickly something I have in the description below to link. And I was confronted yesterday again with the whole CO2 stuff. And it is really absolutely, I don't know even a word to say for that, horrible that practically nobody I've ever asked knew how much CO2 is in the air. Like take 100%. How many percent CO2 is in the air? So think about yourself. Do you know that? Do you have any idea what people are talking about when they talk about CO2? How much CO2 is in the air? Now, this is something that is so incredibly important because if we don't do our homework and this information is all over and we just kind of blow in the same horn as those who talk about climate change before it was global warming, that is not really accurate anymore. So it's changed into climate change. So please get yourself educated. And I have two short blogs and one is even translated into German at the bottom, so that it's easier to share. And you're very welcome if you don't want people to go to my website to copy paste. But please, 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 please share the knowledge, share the information. This is really very important in the moment that we understand what is going on. So now I will share the screen and we go into the astrology, and we have a full moon here and you can see from just the first view of the horoscope, there is nothing in this half. It's just empty. And we have the sun and the moon opposition from Scorpio to Taurus. And here, I said last time I want to talk about Taurus, and this Taurus is the sign where we manifest. And we have here Venus and Jupiter in an exact conjunction already in Taurus, and Uranus is just about to move into Taurus. And it's very important again, and let me tell you, I am talking about real star constellation, that when you look in the sky, what you see. You see here the inner circle is Western astrology as a reference, and the outer circle is how the real star constellation look in the sky. You can see here in the Western astrology that would be in Gemini, but in fact in the star constellations is in Taurus, which is a big difference. And now what we are looking here is like especially important is that triangle with the two orange lines, which are karma lines, karma, a shock experience, and a lesson not learned. Let's put it that way. And I want to say that lesson not learned is not like to make you to feel guilty. It is about that you know probably that we are living in a artificial matrix, a false matrix, which is not a divine matrix. That is what is changing now very soon, that we are moving on in a real divine matrix where not evil is controlling. So when we have missed also opportunities, at the same time, it is because it was blocked. And again, please do not feel guilty about what happened in the past. Very often it is that we have been deceived and we did not have information at that time to find out the truth. This is why I emphasize in the beginning of this reading how important it is now to be informed, to know about the truth. Please, please go and check out these two blogs. And I won't tell you here how much it is, but I think many of you who don't know, you will really experience a big, big surprise. So we have here the sign of manifestation with Jupiter and Venus. Now Venus is in a way we can say the divine creator part of the female energy, that is like the giving birth, and not just giving birth to babies, but everything what is happening is in a way, even if I create a new business or whatever, is like giving birth to create something new. And now Jupiter is here, and Jupiter is helping to expand our way how to see things, that we do not expand anymore in the old energy. And this is here clear with the moon in Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is the sign of transformation, of transfiguration. So we go in a way into the underworld and have to let go of all the things that we had here, like status symbols and everything. Then one of the things is also habits. And it is very helpful in real life now when we talk about how we can help these things to manifest better for us if we go on a journey of changing habits. Because once we're stuck in our habits and we repeat everything again and again and again, it becomes unconscious. And we need to be conscious when we are moving into this new paradigm. If we move through that shift, and if you want to raise your consciousness, you need to be conscious. When you just act on habit and just like an automaton, then it's not working. This is very similar, like you are steered by old habits. Now we have to know that we can see that, and I talked to that about that before, that in fact the old fake matrix has already crashed. But it's kind of kept alive and through the habit of people. They are in the habit of this and this are happening, and we have to behave in a way. Once you have the courage to step out of these ways of behavior, your life will change significantly. Because once you realize that the old matrix is not working anymore, you will be able to manifest something new. And that is what Jupiter and Venus is about here in conjunction with the Sun. It is not about repeating old patterns, like bringing old plans to the surface and do it, but to create new things, to think about what could we do different, what could be more life enhancing, what could be more sustainable, but not in the smart way, but in the human way, in the natural human way, what sustain us better in life, what we are looking for. And for the world horoscope, you see this Sun, Jupiter, and Venus conjunction is in 9th house, and on the cusp of 9th house is Uranus. 9th house is connected with Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is right down here at the root. So we have kind of that fire bubbling up from below, and this is that fire that brings us beyond the boundaries. When we look at the sign, let me show you quickly here. Just like we have the horizontal level, and we have like the arrow is penetrating the horizontal level. This is the sign of Sagittarius. So this is the sign where we move beyond the horizontal level, which is also time. And we know now that time is not just linear, it's a part of our consciousness, experiencing that way, but time is also vertical. And if we look at the cross, we have both. We have the linear, we have the vertical part. And once we bring that two together, then everything can shift too in our life, because we are not anymore focused on the outcome in a linear way, and things can happen differently. So it is important to have an intention, what you want. And here we have Mars. What we have missed and what is coming is here Mars, and Mars is also interestingly in between of two different other signs, see exactly in the middle. One is Chiron and one is the node. So this is a powerful healing. And we have here, we can also say of the masses. But since that is in Pisces, it might not be so clearly seen, but it is happening anyway. A lot of what is happening in the world right now is not on the surface. A lot of things that are in combination with getting rid of negative and evil influences are not visible for humans, and definitely not in mainstream. In the other so-called, you can say, conspiracy channels, you have a lot more information, and there is a lot more truth, but also there, be careful, there's a lot of negative or evil information there too that is very, very fear-mongering. Of course, they use these platforms too for their own purpose. So what we have here is, like, we have this triangle here. So it is about that we now have a chance to see, even if we cannot comprehend it completely with our mind, because again, Mars is in Pisces. So this is more like that underground feeling, and it's time to relay on your gut feeling. Like Pisces, when I say it's invisible, it's more or less the gut feeling that is bringing up the information. So for example, you go somewhere, or you meet somebody, or you go shopping, for example. That happened to me very often. I go shopping and suddenly I have a feeling that you should buy this. And sometimes I think, no, I don't need that, and don't buy it. And then when I'm at home, maybe 1 or 2 days later, oh, I should have bought that. That's exactly what I needed. So go with that feeling, whatever comes. Or if you encounter people and you have this kind of repulsion, and you have the feeling, I don't trust that person, for example, or this is not a person I want into my life, or if this is a person like coming into your job or something, and you think, no, this is a person I cannot work with. Listen to that feeling and stand with it right in the moment it happens, and not later, because later you might not get out so easy anymore, as if you say no from right from the beginning. We have to make our boundaries now. And we talked also about the timeline shift that is happening now. And, if you are going in some kind of, I just say now, a negative relationship with somebody, that person might drag you down into even another timeline. So it is not about being egoistic or being mean or something, but there are certain people who don't belong into our lives anymore. And now this is shown that this is the part of the healing. I can heal only myself. I cannot really heal anybody else. I can offer, for example, somebody else food, but this person has to eat it. And this is on all levels the same. We have to have the experience for ourselves. And if we and not just trust what other people tell us, but we have to go into the experience and explore what is the truth, and not just follow any media, what they want us to believe or what they are telling us. And this is important. So here, this is the challenge in the moment that we have. Every full moon is in that way a challenge. The dark moon is a new beginning, that something comes up new. And we have first the dark moon when it's kind of still the seed. Then the next step, 3 days afterwards, we have the moon crescent, the new moon. This is the real new moon. And then it becomes visible and it grows. And then up when we come to the full moon, this is when we look at it, when the tension is there that we are supposed to look at something. And not always, it can happen different in the real star constellations. We have the opposite sign. We have two different signs from the opposite, and we have to bring that together. And it's always in a triangle. It never can be just two. It always is that third point that brings that two together. And we have different kind of triangles. We have another one here. We have one here. So this is the learning triangle here, what we can learn with it. And this is the tension triangle, what we have to resolve. So this is very interesting. So again, look at the moon in Scorpio. We have to transform something. And then through that transformation, we will be able to manifest something new. Even if Uranus is not yet in Taurus, it's still at the cusp of 9, which is starting into Taurus. So we have some kind of something break breakthrough energy, like, breakthrough energy often looks like a volcano, that something is breaking through, exploding. And well, we can say we have a lot of breakthrough energy in the world too, when you look at what is happening. So this is the triangle here, and then we have the other triangle here is the gift. And now what do we have here? We have Pluto. And again, I can just tell you that Pluto is one of the most misunderstood planets. When we look already at the symbol, it looks different. And this is the only planet we have in the moment that is retrograde. Not like other times when we had so many, it's just Pluto. So always a retrograde planet points inside. You have to look inside, and you cannot find the solution outside. And this is in Capricorn. Like we have the moon in Scorpio. The ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. And the Pluto is that transformation going through, like in the story, the mythos that we can find, like in Anna, she is going into the underworld, or Persephone, and she has to let go of everything what she was and is being reborn as her daughter. So this is like it's a death and a new reincarnation in a way, but it happens in the same lifetime. It does not mean that you physically die, but that you can be reborn. Old stuff has to leave. You cannot take that with you. So that rebirth that is also here significant in Pluto in Capricorn is like all the old structures. I talked about habits before. So if we don't let go of our old beliefs and our old habits, we cannot move into the new. Now, just give you another example. Just look at the incarnation itself, like somebody who was living like 100 years ago. 100 years ago, if you would have talked about internet, about computers and stuff like that, people were kind of, what the hell is she talking about? They could not understand. They would not even understand the words. And now they are reincarnated and know all what that is. So see the difference between the consciousness of the person 100 years ago and now is totally different. So we could not even fathom. Even I was born in the mid last century. Just imagine, we had actually a telephone, and that was already great. We had a telephone, this big box that you put up. My grandfather still had one hanging on the wall, but we had a telephone, and not everybody had one. But at that time, if you would have talked to me about mobile phones, I just probably would have, what's wrong with that person, right? But it's all here now. Everything is moving forward. And that's exactly when we are here on the false matrix, what is still playing out because of the habit of humanity. We cannot even imagine yet what the real divine matrix is. Even if we stay on we are on fourth dimension, but we still have a 3D body, but consciousness wise in the fourth dimension, that will be a beautiful life. So even if those who are not going to 5D or ascend, even those who stay on 3, 4D, they will have a matrix that is fantastic. So there is nothing to say like, oh, you have to ascend or whatever. No, you don't. It depends. It depends. Again, we can say, in what grade are you? Like if you are, for example, in 5th grade, and then another person is in university, that is a very different interest also what the people have. So there are many different souls on the planet. And I was showing about in one of my last blog also how it looks if we are moving forward, like where we are in the moment, where the timeline have collapsed, and then we move to two different ways, and from there many timelines go off again. And this is in both ways. It doesn't matter where you go, but it is good. And you will have a chance to live a life that is not controlled by evil, but it's controlled by good. So this is the choice that we have to make now when we look. This is the gift. And what does Pluto say here? Again, the sextile here, the blue line going to the moon, is giving you the opportunity to choose how much or how deep you want to transform. There is no you have to. So see here, we see follow. I said follow your feeling, follow your gut. The energy is here. The healing of humanity is here. And this is in Pisces. So you cannot do that with your head. You cannot do that with your mind. This is something that happened on a different level. And again, this is very similar like the timeline says that when you are just on a linear timeline, then it's just you do something here and then you move forward and this will be here. But if you have a timeline that you go like this, when this is influencing too, then we have a different outcome. And even if you don't understand that in a moment, how that would feel or how that would be, it doesn't matter really, because the moment you're there, you know. And that is the inner knowing. This is not about something you have learned or something that somebody told you. That is something that you experience. And this, what you experience here, this is something you might not be able to say in words. Like, for example, those who had very deep experiences in meditation, they cannot really word that. We use like we had golden roads and blah, blah, blah. But this is, again, that gives you a picture which is not real. And you know, when I was in the 80s, I was a lot of working with rebirthing, and I had experienced myself when you go into a process of breathing, of very intense breathing, and you come to a point when you breathe so much that your whole body is kind of filled with oxygen, and you come to a point that I can nearly explain it a little bit like an orgasm, that suddenly the world around you explodes. And then I didn't need to breathe anymore. And I have no idea. Some people said I was not breathing for 5 minutes. Some people said it was 10 minutes. I have no idea. And you're floating. And this is something that is absolutely not possible to describe, because also time does not exist anymore. And these are experiences that are coming towards you in that process of healing if you let go. And this is when the linear time and the horizontal and the vertical are coming together. And this is when you're in the here and now. So one thing I can recommend you to do is, whenever you are coming to a moment where you don't know what to do, or when you are in front of a problem or whatever, breathe. First, just focus on your breath. And just with that breath, you give the intention that solve my problem. Help me to find an answer. Spirit self, tell me what I need to know. Higher self, divine self, whatever you want to call it, or you can say God, tell me what I need to know. And once you are in that moment, and this is the breath will help you to get to the point that you're in the here and now, miracles can happen, and things will shift in your life, and things will not look the same anymore for you in the future. We have Mercury, see, it's not connected to any other planet in Aries. So also Aries is the sign of new beginnings. And Mercury disconnected is very clearly a sign that the mind will not be able to help you to comprehend what is going on. So listen to your gut feeling, go deep inside yourself. And if you have time and if you want to, just go into breathing exercises, just breathe and something will happen. Whatever you do, just breathe and feel your breath going into your body. Imagine your breath is not just air, but it's light. It is prana. It is life energy. And fill your body. I usually breathe into the heart. And then from the heart, I distribute, and I kind of imagine that the the whole light and the energy is flowing into my head, into my shoulders, my hand, my lower body, my legs, feet. And you will feel also this kind of tingling sensation that oxygen is filling you. And there will be a moment that you just like have a feeling either you fall asleep, which is perfectly okay. This is, by the way, a very good exercise if you have problems with going to sleep. Do that, and you will be in a relaxed state of consciousness, or you might have a vision, or you might get an information, or you suddenly have a very strong feeling of something. Like, for example, you have a problem, you suddenly have the answer. And this kind of breathing exercise can help you a lot to move forward. Now, see, we have Saturn here. Saturn is connected with the yellow line. The yellow line are the 72-degree connected with Venus. We have 5 of them, like a 5-pointed star. And when you look at the yellow lines with the Saturn, it's connected with creativity. It's connected with new creation of life. And we have all this, also this sextile and this quintile going up to the Venus. It's going to the Venus and Jupiter conjunction here. And this is your support that you have. Again, Saturn is not always negative. Most people think Saturn is the enemy, even in some astrological system. It's not an enemy. But when we have Saturn here in Aquarius, that will help you to break through, to die from the old paradigm into a new way of creativity, to let go of the expectation of how you think things have to happen. You have to create this in a certain way because we did it like that before. No, we don't have to do it anymore like before. We have to state it. We have to very clearly state what we want and where we want to go. And then it will happen, and maybe in a complete different way than you're expecting. And the sextile that we have to support, like we can say the blue line is the big gift, the green line is the small gift, that will help you. And this Neptune to circumvent in a way your mind, to move forward on that feeling, on that, I cannot find another word in the moment, just let me say that gut feeling, it's like intuition. Inspiration is something that's coming in fast, that's more like going in the head, you have suddenly an idea. And intuition is that kind of slowly bubbling up, feeling first. Like, for example, as I said, you are in a situation and you feel that this is not good for you. Listen to that feeling, to that kind of bubble up of energy, and handle accordingly that situation. And here the half square that we have here is coming from Mars. And again, our whole old paradigm is based on the mind, on the brainwash. You can only control people if you brainwash them into belief, into a system, and manifest it. Because we can say that those who are controllers, who are from the dark side, they cannot create. They need us to create. They need the light, the beings of the light, to create for them. And once we withdraw that and start to create for ourselves, and that's what many have already done, that's why the shift can happen, because of the rising consciousness level of humanity. This is what is in this chart very clearly now, and we are moving forward and we communicate with the self. And here in Gemini and here Mercury in Aries, again, it is not clear for the mind, clearly like visible as like the old paradigm. We know exactly what to do, for example, follow a recipe to bake a cake or whatever. And this is how we functioned in the past, and the future is going to be different. It is coming out of the here and now, and we can say that this is already a huge shift within consciousness for those who want to follow it and consciously start to listen to the intuition that is now feeding us and not living on the old habits. Okay. I hope that helps a little bit with what is going on in your life. And I apologize that I have not made another card reading. I did write a couple of readings also on my blog site. I had a little bit of turbulent time in the last couple of weeks, and I will try to make another reading here. Otherwise, please go to my blog site and follow, and you will get the email and information from the posts that I put there. And please check out the CO2 thing. That is really very important to know. Okay, so I see you at the latest in my next moon reading, and I wish you all the best. And remember, breathing, breathing. That is very natural and it will help you forward. Okay, bye bye for now. See you next time.